It's something I found quite hard to explain. But as I write, I'm also reading. If you know what I mean, it's kind of an odd thing. I am the reader, reading what I write, and obviously we all are, because of course the words appearing in front of us, and you've got to read them. But I try and put myself in the head of a reader. And because I read a lot of crime, not as much as I did, but I certainly used to read a heck of a lot, I think that makes me quite good at knowing what readers are going to think.
It's such a great skill to be able to pull back and say, if I would just pick this up off a shelf and I was flicking through, what do I make of this? And I remember doing it when you said with other careers. I started off in TV as my first paid job as a writer, and it was looking at it and thinking, actually, this, we have an ad break in the middle of this not very good soap, but we have to pull people back. They're going to have 3 minutes of awful ads for washing up liquid. We have to have this mini hook, and if you work in TV, you would have, that's sort of known by everyone, but I'd never thought about it before. I'd studied English literature, I'd read whatever books, and I'd never thought there is a mini hook before the adverts. It just never cropped into I just never thought about it. And then suddenly I was like, okay, that's important, actually. I'm not aware of all these mechanics, but they make a difference.
Like Lee Child has the same background in television as well, almost identical to mine. We both worked in British commercial television until aged 40, and then wrote a book. And actually, you can see, I totally can see all of that. It was a brilliant apprenticeship for me because of exactly those things. I read somewhere that Raymond Chandler used to write on deliberately small pieces of paper. And something had to happen on each side of paper. So not the A4, it was like he'd have small bits and he'd go, and he was getting to the bottom, nothing had happened, something had have to happen.
Well, it's that brilliant, so simple yet so profound piece of Elmore Leonard advice, which is try to avoid the parts readers tend to skip. And as you're writing, you know what they are. You do know what they are. I mean, when I was doing stand-up, instantly if something has worked, or more often if it hasn't worked. You certainly know. The sound of tumbleweed in a big comedy club is not something you forget. But obviously when you're writing, you're completely removed from that. I have to imagine my audience as the thing is taking shape, and I know that reader is going, move on, there's nothing happening here, or that character's not doing the things that they should be doing, or that, and it's doing that. It is pace, but it's also, I think, about learning the things you're good at. I think that's something that took me a while to figure out, is that, do you know what, that's my strength, that really isn't.